You're watching The Mic Check, on every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Mic Check. Tonight may be a train wreck. It may be good. I don't know. We're having technical issues. But anyway, welcome to The Mic Check. Tonight's piece of copy is a nice little holiday-related thing because it sort of sounds like something you would hear for the holidays. And it's for Puffs Plus. So everybody get ready to have your tongue tied. And who wants to read this first?
All right, I will.
I'll do it. Well,
Okay, nobody did. Then
Oh,
everybody
forgot to turn on
volunteered.
my video there.
You guys hear me?
I hear you.
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I'm sorry I missed what the directions were other than a Dr. Seuss story. So I'm just going to read it anyway. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Okay. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dr. slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed. Oh, that's that cute. Oh,
Hey, Richard, you keeping order?
Oh yeah, thanks
oh,
for
yeah.
reminding me.
And who was it that said they were going to go, but I did instead?
Whoever you
Oh,
want.
I think.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I'm just reading the copy, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're just reading
Okay.
it now.
All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose. With lotion tissue, a nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed. And I didn't get that out right once.
That's
That's
okay.
okay. The directed section, you'll be able to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you going to pick?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. My mouse is circling and it stopped on John Stafford.
All right.
Go ahead, John.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed. How about Michael?
All right. Unless there's another Michael on that I don't know about.
No.
Oh, okay. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed. All right. Next up is Devin.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed. Richard.
Okay. I'll get me put in there in a minute, I guess. Okay. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves puff. A nose in need deserves puffs plus, indeed. Nathan.
Hang on a second.
I could read if need be.
I had to get rid of a cough drop.
All right then. Sorry.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have a pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus, indeed. Okay. Paul.
All right. Little Dakota's nose. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed. Okay, who hasn't gone? Leonard. Leonard, have you gone?
Okay, not yet.
Okay.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed. Dan, go ahead.
All right, let me pull this copy up. Here we go. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs has pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed. Russ.
What? Oh,
Did you read yet?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on, just go ahead and read.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed. Who's left, John?
John N.
All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed.
That leaves Goldie, right? Is that it?
Is Goldie here?
I can see her.
Goldie's here, and I believe she is the last one to go.
Oh, there.
Yeah, but I can't hear her.
Can't hear her.
Anybody hear her?
Uh-oh, having mic issues again, it seems.
Hang on. We're going to
There
switch
we
to
go.
the.
Okay, we
There
hear
Ah,
you
there
now.
we go.
I swapped
worked.
on something and it didn't like it all.
Got it.
Oh,
You're up.
I thought the audio issue problem was catching.
All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. The dad slayed the problem. Let me try that again. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puff Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puff Plus indeed.
Nathan, were you going to record tonight?
I'm recording in the other room.
Okay, because it doesn't show it up on Zoom.
I'm having to do this off my tablet because
Okay.
Zoom is giving me issues on my PC.
Gotcha.
Fun,
my
fun.
Laptop's fine, but so I'm using my mobile device
All right.
for.
Just edit that out
Other
and
part.
post that.
It's getting recorded.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Hopefully good.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the script then, shall we? So, I recognize the script. Do you all recognize this one? Have you all heard this one before?
We've heard. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the little animation that went with it was so cute.
Yep.
Yes.
But this is definitely more of a Christmas time script because, you know, even though Dr. Seuss, for whatever reason, is not necessarily, you know, his works were never really focused on Christmas. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas became his most popular thing ever. I don't know why. I loved All the Places You Can Go. I think that was my absolute favorite book by him.
One fish, two
Other
fish,
than
red
the
fish,
Cat in
blue
the Hat?
fish.
Cat in the Hat.
Hop on
The
top.
Cat in the Hat is another really good one. But
One fish,
for
two
whatever
fish, red
reason-
fish, blue fish. That
That's
was my
another
favorite.
good one.
You're a little
Um,
hot again, Dan.
Oh yeah, I just put it back on. Sorry.
If you do voiceover, you gotta do Fox and Socks.
Oh, give me the gift of a grip top sock, a tip top.
That one's actually not even
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss. It's just ascribed to him.
Oh, it isn't actually him.
Yeah.
Really?
And another fun fact, it
Oh.
actually is not supposed to be pronounced Dr. Seuss. It's pronounced Dr. Zeus. But since nobody could pronounce it that way, he just sort of went like, all right, you know what? Dr. Seuss, we'll go with that.
I'll just
Didn't he have throat cancer?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But,
He was well
anyway.
into his 90s.
Let's go ahead and get into the script. So this is written in a Seuss-like, you know, cadence. And in fact, the direction itself says narration similar to a Dr. Seuss story, but not over the top. So
Mhm.
let's talk about the elements that make up a Dr. Seuss type read, because that's what we're going to have to try to emulate as much as possible here. So when you think of a Dr. Seuss type of read, what are some things that come to mind? What are some aspects of that we could start writing down and sort of focusing in on?
There's a specific cadence to it,
Mhm.
like a certain rhythm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
It's
And
almost
it definitely plays into that rhythm.
Some sentences do and some don't.
That don't get burned by ordinary tissue almost seemed like a
Well, yeah, it breaks from the rhyme at the very
Well,
end.
yeah,
Yeah,
but even right in the beginning, so everything flows real well with da 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 until you get to Puffs Plus Lotion instead. That breaks the rhythm entirely.
Well,
the
you
one
have to
thing
work
with this,
You have to work very hard not to be sing-songy with it.
I
and
think you
every
could-
piece of
A
copy
little
like
bit's
it.
okay, I think. In this.
Yeah, I actually think that with a Dr. Seuss type read, a little bit of sing-songy is okay because you're
Yeah.
playing into the whole child focus of it.
Mhm.
What you don't want to do is deliver everything the same. When I imagine a Dr. Seuss style read, I imagine, you know, the narrator playing into the sing-songiness, but also having a lot of presence of emotion. Like they know exactly what's
Yeah.
going on and they communicate that.
Yeah,
So-
Richard did a real good job with that.
Mhm. Yeah, he
Oh,
did.
thanks, John.
Sorry, I apologize, Nathan. I saw I was I know I was talking over you, but what was your thought?
Oh, well, the thing that I saw about this, and this is the reason why I picked it up, is because there's a musicality to it. There's
Mhm.
always a musicality to copy like this, and
Absolutely.
so it's not just sing-songy. It's just there's a cadence and rhythm and pacing to it. You know,
Hmm.
it works just like poetry. Well,
Yeah.
literally like poetry, but
Yes.
Yeah, it works just like poetry because it is poetry.
It is.
yes,
Awesome.
exactly.
So let's talk about something, because one of the things that I think also really defines a Dr. Seuss style read is being able to communicate that feeling through the rhyme. So what I want to do here is I want to go ahead and go through these lines and talk about the general reaction you want the listener to have, or just what you want them to hear from your narration. So
Yeah.
let's look at these sentences and let's look at what kind of overall feel they need to have. So I think the first two go together. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear
Mhm.
because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. So
Mhm.
what's the kind of feel that those two are supposed to have?
Trepidation.
Or
Okay.
sadness.
Trepidation, a little sadness. Anything else?
That's your problem that needs solving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's sort of like an "oh no, not again" thing, right?
I like that oh no kind of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost a little bit of distress, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that could be another one you could
Yeah,
add
I like
into that too.
Yes.
One thing I was thinking of throughout these reads was that the word ordinary there, and you need to highlight that as being
Mhm.
Operative word. Yeah.
Mhm.
It can be
Yeah.
vaguely ordinary, like disgusted by it, or in some way unpleasant. A lot of people just, and this was of course the first time read, but a lot of people just read it as just another word.
Mhm. No, I totally agree. I believe that ordinary writing there, that's actually was going to be my next point. Ordinary does need to be sort of emphasized with some kind of dread or trepidation or negativity, because obviously we're trying to play up how awesome Puffs Plus lotion is. So, there's our villain. The ordinary tissue is the villain of our story.
Mhm.
And these first two lines need to be approached with some kind of distress, nervousness, trepidation, something like that, some sort of oh no feeling. Um, so then we move on into the last part of the first paragraph. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead.
We
How's
skip
that
one
supposed to
line.
feel? What are we supposed to approach that with?
I think you need to feel like you're slaying a dragon.
A little bit of excitement.
A little bit of excitement, a little bit of triumph too, right?
Triumph. That's what.
Is that what you're going for,
Here
Russ?
I come to
Right.
save the day. I'm thinking.
Toughness.
Adventurous.
Okay, toughness is a good one. Toughness is
Yeah.
a good one.
That's where Richard really brought it out too, because he got a little rough. So Dad slayed the problem. It was good. Good instinct there.
And
Just so we got back up just a second. You wanted to put emphasis on ordinary. My take on it is ordinary tissue is the phrase. I mean, do we emphasize both or just ordinary tissue, or is it ordinary tissue? I guess it could work both ways.
it was, or I think, again, because these are both tissues.
Yeah.
The difference is it's an ordinary one
Ordinary.
versus
Yeah.
Puffs Plus lotion.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Good point.
Yeah, because it
What
knew
about
an
the-
ordinary tissue was near.
The fiery
Sorry.
tissue.
Mm.
Go back.
Maybe we could use. Is this commercial already out?
Yeah, it's been
Oh,
out for a
yeah.
long
years.
time. This is
Long
an
while.
old commercial. Thank you for bringing up the fiery tissue line. No, let's go ahead and talk about that one. How should that be approached?
I feel like that's like an oh no, the fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. But I'm not sure where the
That
emphasis
is
sore
really
and
spot
red.
on there, Goldie.
Or, pain. Like, oh.
It's
Yeah.
dangerous.
Sore and red.
Yeah, sore and red. Yeah, the red's the
Well, I think sore and red. Like we want to
sore
make sure that
and
those are
both
emphasized.
there.
Like the fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. Like
Yeah,
oh poor thing.
exactly.
It's almost a little
Sore
bit
and
of
red.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's sore and then even more so red. But you can just say
I don't know. I think both of them. I think that whole thing, sore and red, all needs the lift.
yeah,
I wouldn't necessarily say an emphasis, but definitely a lift.
lift, yeah.
Because it would sound. I don't know. To me, it sounds a little bit awkward. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. Trying to
well,
put more
yeah, I
emphasis
wouldn't
on
put it
one
that
more
way.
than the other.
I would still keep it the down tone. as opposed to
The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. Like, yeah,
yeah,
we definitely want both of
like what
those
you
to
were
be.
doing. It just sounds like sore is maybe it's just the vowel sitter or the anyway, yeah, what you're doing, but however you would say that for you or for others. Okay.
It seems like what we
Okay.
need to realize that sore and red is the problem.
Yes.
And it's about to get slayed. So it's like a setup.
Played the problem with Puff's lotion instead.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the rest of it can almost have like a triumphant feel to it,
Yeah.
a really positive, upbeat.
Yay!
Yep. So this is like, oh, relief. Everybody's in heaven now. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Just add a smile to that section, because this is where the world is now better. The problem is gone, and everything is okay from here on out. And
I don't
then,
think that the last line needs to fit even in the pattern. Like, don't try to make that poetic. Just don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves puffs plus indeed.
mhm.
I was thinking about that one, and I think it's a judgment call, but you can even read it like the story ends with soothe when she blows, and then you're closing the storybook and going, don't get burned by ordinary tissue.
Yeah. Well, you could almost
I
preface
almost
it
It's a
with the
transition.
moral of the story is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost
Yeah.
The don't get burned by ordinary issue has a finger wag, I think.
And then,
I
of course, we
kinda-
gotta play up a little bit of the reference here with a nose in need deserves puffs plus indeed. Obviously, that's referring to a friend in need is a friend indeed.
Yep.
Yeah, I think going ahead and having a smile with that the whole like second half of
It's
this
like
is what you need to do.
Yeah.
it's like Puffs Plus is your friend, right? The friend
Mhm.
you need when you're in need.
And I think you play up the rhyme on that one. A nose in need deserves puff plus indeed.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. I think, yeah, playing up a little bit of the rhyme in that last sentence is
Mhm.
right where you need to be, especially, since it's a callback to the rest of it. This whole thing is this almost whimsical style of commercial. If you've ever seen it before, it uses claymation to show everything. And there's actually like, a little bit of fantasy in there where the kid is like legitimately fighting with the tissue and things like that. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
actually,
remember that.
on there, it's made to look like stop motion. But well, we can all tell in this century that it's CG.
Yeah, it was
But
CGI, right?
they show the tissue coming out looking like a dragon with its wings unfurled and blowing fire right at the kid's face. A rather violent commercial for sounding so something you'd read to a 4-year-old, but at the same time, it's making a point.
Mhm.
This is what she sees that ordinary tissue as, that fire breathing dragon. So
Alrighty then. So I think we've got a good idea of what to do. Does anybody have any other questions or comments that I could bring up at any other part of the script? Maybe something we didn't go over, something you're not necessarily clear about? Nope. Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get back into it. Starting with, let me just open up the window.
Janet.
Starting with Janet. Thank you. Janet, go ahead.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with puffs plus lotion instead. All right. I'm going to start again. You know what's funny? It looks so easy when you read it in your mind. And then when you do it,
Yes.
I know.
Totally true.
It's very normal for,
Yeah.
I know. All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves puffs plus, indeed. Oh my God, it's a tongue twister, too.
Yeah,
I
I figured that would
All
hit.
right. I don't think you need to comment on this one. I can just do it again.
Yeah, just pick it up.
Dan Rule is active. We're commenting. That's the whole point. By the way, opening it up, what did everybody think? Let's go ahead and give her some feedback.
On the part of violating the Dan rule, when you come across a tongue twister like that and your tongue gets twisted, just go back and pick back up on the line. You know, if you have to just snap your fingers or whatever you do to make that little divider between what you did and where you screwed up and what you're redoing, you know. But other than that, yeah, it sounded just a tiny bit fast.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it started out fast. You slowed down a little bit towards the end. I don't know
I
what
think
the
think of
very
it like
funny
you're
first
you're
part.
you're reading to you're reading to. Do you have grandchildren? Just asking. I mean,
No, I'm only 49.
you're only 40. Okay.
Hey, in the South, you could have great grandchildren.
I know plenty of 49-year-olds with children and grandchildren and great
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know a
grandchildren.
38-year-old that has grandkids, so
49-year-old that's
Don't
suspecting
worry.
that he might
Mhm.
become
All
a
right, let me.
grandfather. So okay. Anyway,
John.
Chicken.
Got it. Everybody's life situation's a little bit different, but let's
yeah.
get back to it.
Anyway. Okay. Well, think of somebody reading to their grandchildren or their children a bedtime story, because that is what this reads like, a bedtime story. You know, in a sense, it does, and it has to have that slower pacing, like you're reading to a 4-year-old. You know.
And
Yeah,
I'm going.
just imagine you're reading to like this tiny little child that's sort of got the blanket up over their face and is just hanging on your every word.
Okay.
If you're lucky.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Uh, I was missing some emotion in a lot of the words that call for it, like quivering in fear. I'm say that like you're actually scared.
Okay. All right. I gotcha. Okay. I'm gonna do it again. Here we go. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puff's Pus lotion. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puff's Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed. Such a tongue twister.
All right. What did everybody think of that read?
Much
Aside from being
improved.
such a tongue twister, you really did make an improvement, and the pacing was a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one would be very okay to go a bit slower on. Like you only have, there's very little to read here, and I think this would probably be like spec'd at 15 seconds,
This is
which
actually a
is a
30-second spot.
oh, it's a 30-second spot.
Yeah,
Okay, you've
yeah.
got
I pulled it from
plenty of
iSpot
time.
TV, so it's at 30. And the thing of it is they managed to fit the whole thing in 30 and going at a slower pace. Which it's possible to do that with this, just because of the way it's structured.
My one extra note here, a big improvement, but the ordinary needs to be vaguely disgusting or somehow negative.
Okay. Okay.
And that shows up twice, actually.
Okay. All
So
right.
go ahead
Can I
and
do one
play up
more?
and yeah,
Okay.
yeah, make that ordinary really gross.
Okay. Here we go. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves puffs plus indeed.
That was awesome. That was a
Very good.
really good read.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
excellent.
That was great. Can we read the story again?
It was a
How
good
many times
speed.
do you want to hear it?
She said, "Don't get burned by ordinary tissue." She did tissue instead of ordinary at the end.
No,
That
it's
was
4
the only
o'clock in the
thing I
morning,
didn't
but
like.
I want to hear it again.
Okay, so then let's go ahead and take that last sentence again, and the last two sentences again, and play up the disgust and ordinary one more time.
Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves puffs plus indeed.
Eh.
That was it. That was
Yeah.
it.
You nailed it.
Witchy woman.
You got the part. You got the part.
Finally, finally.
Union rates too.
Yeah, this would be a union project, wouldn't it?
And a national spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, enough about paychecks. Let's go ahead and get back to reading. All right. Congratulations.
done.
You did an
Paychecks.
awesome job, Janet. All right, Ms. B, you're up.
Okay.
Go for it.
Alrighty. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed.
I don't have a whole lot. That was pretty
No, that
pretty
was-
solid most of the way. Just
Nice and slow, but yet
Little more smile on the last part,
Okay.
last two paragraphs, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
a little
definitely
bit
want to
more
play up the
upbeat.
warmth at the end there. Mhm.
You kind of want to use the
Mhm.
the what Pat Fraley calls the good bad method, because you're starting, on the down note with the problem, but when you get to Dad slayed the problem, that's where everything starts getting more upbeat and cheerful because Dad came in and saved the day. And so it's like, Dad slayed the problem. So you go into a smile with that for sure. So
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, that was a really good read overall. The only really minor nitpicky thing I would say is you put a little bit like a half a beat between Puffs Plus and Lotion, and that just kind of needed to be one continuous phrase. And the sort of again at the end, there was a little bit too much pause between Puffs and Plus.
Yeah,
sort of
trying hard not to do that Puss plus.
Yeah.
yeah.
It is a little bit of a tongue twister. It got me a few
Mhm.
times, but overall, yeah, it was a very good read.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and give us another read, and definitely add the smile into that last half. That from Puffs, Puffs have pillowy softness all the way to the end.
Okay. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed.
Under
Okay.
little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear. Oh no, forgive me. When you said ordinary, you made it sound so beautiful.
It was emphasized, but not really negatively.
Yeah, it was beautifully said the way you said it, very pretty voice, but it's supposed to be
Ordinary.
Why not? Get into it. I'd love to see a little bit more of hand motion behind the mic too from you.
Mhm.
Uh, like, give it that little cutesiness or whatever you need to do. You have a really good thing going right now. I think just a little bit more physicality in your read could really transform it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you said dad, so dad slayed the problem, you emphasized dad and tried to emphasize Slade instead of, because you said like so dad slayed the problem, but tried not to, so dad slayed,
Yeah, give
Okay.
give Slade a little bit of a like physical punch. Dad slayed the problem. Something. I'd love to see. I'd love to see more acting behind the microphone here.
Okay.
You're so close, and it sounds so good. I think
Yeah.
again, just a little bit of acting is going to push it right over the top.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead and give us another read.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was great.
Yes.
Mm,
That
I
little
think
bit
that was
more
great. I don't
connection,
know.
and it just transformed it.
mm.
How did that
Fantastic.
feel for you?
I think it was a better read. I kind of like every
Did you
part
feel
of
more
my
into it?
body is sore, so it's moving is hard right now.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yep.
okay. I
I
understand.
understand that.
It's
I
not
Still,
coming through though.
yeah, even just that little bit of physication that little bit of extra physical movement that you put into it really pushed it over the edge. That was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think
Alright.
your voice is real well suited for this
Wow,
read
what a
too.
pretty voice.
I understand performing past the pain. I did that last week. Pauly Shore impression and all.
Mhm.
Yeah, over the
Thank
top.
you
He is.
guys.
Yeah.
Very
No,
good.
thank you for your
Very
read.
good.
Well
Great.
done.
Great.
John Stafford, you're up.
Saw. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed.
All right. What did everybody think?
Oh, I hate the pregnant pause.
I
know,
love
I
this,
know.
but I'm gonna say
It's-
slow
was,
it down just a little
It's
bit.
just that silence. We all get it. It's just.
I was kind of missing the sense that you were reading it for a 4 or 5-year-old.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah, I think that's what was
came
missing.
across. It came across a little matter of fact there.
You've
So,
got to
more
paint that picture
storytelling.
for that little one.
Okay. After all, it is a Dr. Seuss story, so it is for
There
a
you go.
5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
one last thing, my little nitpicky note is you dropped off Puffs Plus at the end.
oh, just
Yeah,
kind of
nose
swallowed
in
it a little
need
bit.
deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, and give it that second, second bump, second emphasis there. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed. It's allowed. You're allowed to play with the length of time and giving things a little bit more emphasis because it is supposed to sound like a Dr. Seuss style read. So I think right there, give Puffs Plus a little bit more.
All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs plus indeed.
Okay, what did everybody think of that one?
Normal silence.
That
I
that
like-
was
I like
much better, John. That
It
was
was.
Yeah.
emotional read type stuff for you is just you're getting better all the time, and I thought that was a much better than your first go around.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was
Well,
clearly better, but still only like halfway there. You can still go a little further.
Okay.
my only issue,
Right.
John, was fiery was you left it totally alone, and it kind of fell out with the rhythm of the emotions that you were playing.
I would just attach just a tiny bit of active hush to that to give it more of that
Oh,
reading a bedtime story kind of feel.
okay. That's an interesting take. I like that.
All right. Give us another read.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because she knew. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. That fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves a nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, that was it needed that. It just
Yeah.
added a
Yep.
softness to it that it just was needing.
Hmm.
Good job.
All in all, much better. Yeah, you're definitely getting more and more attuned to those emotional style reads like this one. And I remember the very beginning that was definitely way out of your wheelhouse. You definitely improved quite a bit when it comes to those. And this last take was just a really good example of that. You took directions really well for it, and you added that warmth in that it was missing from before. A little bit of personality, a little bit of more, more of that closeness that it needed. So, good job.
And that
A
active
little
hush
more.
works. The first thing that came to my mind was there was a lady reading a story to her 3-year-old at an appointment I was at with Rhonda the other day. And whenever you hear somebody reading to their kid, it's always got this little bit of a hush tone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So really good.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like
you're more animated now than you were before.
Yes, definitely that too.
We're bringing you out of your shell, John.
Slowly but surely.
Pretty soon he'll be doing "They're great" in the store right next to the cereal box.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your mic?
John, you're muted.
You're muted, babe.
Sorry, Richard, I'm muted.
There you go.
How long did it take me to get rid of the lil? So, it's a work in
Hey,
progress.
that's okay. You keep coming back, you keep practicing, and it'll just get better and better.
And we're always
Yep.
a work in progress.
You're definitely a huge improvement from when you first. Everything was almost monotone and across the board. It didn't matter what we had to read. You are putting some oomph in it now, bud. Good job.
Thank you. Honestly, I was from the beginning just very afraid to do any characters or express myself emotionally. I thought, e-learning's a thing for me here. It doesn't take me out of my comfort zone. But who knows?
In this business, you're bound to meet somebody like me,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
changes everything.
That's been an experience. All right. Well, thank you, and I guess I'll pass the torch to Michael.
All right. Looks like I'm up next.
Get away, Michael.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
God. That was very good.
That was
Might have been
definitely a
listening to the
bedtime story.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I'd
rough.
like to hear it a little bit more like what the last comment you made to me, a little more hushed,
Okay.
like
Oh,
you're
okay.
like you're reading to your little 3-year-old granddaughter or something.
I thought it was great. There was just that there was one line that I didn't feel that the fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. It should, oh, you should feel so bad for her that it's that way, that it's just this glowing bulb on the end of her nose and you have to wipe it again. And oh, I hated that having to take care of them.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness gracious.
Okay. All right, here we go. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Yep.
I got
I
nothing.
hit the points.
We'll send you a
Yep.
check. Thanks.
Okay, as long as I've hit the points, that's what matters.
You
The
hit
only
the
thing I
points.
noticed when you
Yeah,
said
I
red,
think
it
you
sounded
did.
kind of like ret. I heard kind of a T sound.
That might have been the network.
Could have been.
Yeah, I think there was
Yeah.
a glitch in the network in there
There
somewhere.
was a network
Yeah.
blip.
There's a network
Definitely.
hitch. I
Yeah,
can try
you're
it
having
again.
bandwidth problems.
Well, it could be. We use up all the internet here, it seems.
All the bits.
Hey, Michael, do you think since this is a 30-second, we should be doing more pauses on the second line, like build it up, let it go, build it up? You know, we're kind of not going fast, but not going slow enough, maybe, as you know the time says. Is anybody timing?
I think
No,
we could.
no, but I don't think anybody's taking more than 20 seconds to read this.
Yeah. Do you want me to try it a little bit slower? Do you want to see how that sounds?
With a little bit of video, so I mean, even if it's under 20 seconds, they're padding this thing out with all kinds of video too. So
Yeah.
because this is for television.
Usually you're a little under whatever the time is that the ad has to run.
Yeah.
Well, I think we could.
Sure.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any problem with slowing it down anymore. I mean, we're definitely all going to come in under 30 just because there's not enough to cover 30 seconds of talking here. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we could slow it down. I think that'll work out.
It just seems like the second line we're just kind of all reading as one, but I think they put pauses in the second line
Big
sometimes.
thing with is a nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed. That is their tagline. That is actually the tagline for the whole thing. So I wasn't sure if anybody was aware of that, but
Well, just try it that way for fun. Give it some more pauses here and there
Give it some more pauses.
for effect.
Okay. Let's try it again, but with more pauses this time. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
I'm happy.
oh yes, yeah.
Think of anything.
Yeah,
So
that
did
was
the-
about 33. And
It was about 33.
I heard you
Okay.
say I heard you say news. I don't know. Nose didn't come out on the last one. A news? What was
News.
that?
Oh, okay.
I'm getting ant red. I mean, it's not that pronounced, but the D's are just coming off a little T-ish sounding. And then the don't get burned by ordinary tissue just sounds like you're just saying it. Like, I know maybe that's the way you think it should be, but I don't, it needs something, it seems like.
Okay, I'll try to give it a little bit more of a negative feel to it. I'll see if I can do that and hopefully round out those D's a bit more so they don't sound so sharp.
On
Yeah,
the
and-
don't get burned, there's actually a little bit of musicality to it that kind of stretches it out just a little bit more. You know, don't get burned. You know, you see, feel that where they're stretching burned just not too much, but just enough to make it sound more musical.
All right, let me see if I can round things out. End it off just right.
Do you not think it's kind of a finger wag, like "Don't get burned by ordinary"?
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. I guess I'm not communicating that
Oh, okay.
as clearly as I want to. Let me see if
Yeah.
I can get that through a little bit better this time.
Okay.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus, indeed.
That was it. You're giving him a
Yep.
warning. Please don't be a fool and get this ordinary crap. You need to get this good stuff. I'm trying to help you here. That's what came across. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Did I round out the D's too? Did they not sound like T's this time?
Yep, sounded
I
good.
didn't.
Okay.
Maybe a little pause in between "and" "red." I don't know. But yeah,
It was,
I didn't
yeah.
hear T's, but I kind of heard D's pronounced hard. So
That
anyway.
definitely was the best. Nice
Yeah,
job.
definitely. Yeah, you
Okay.
did good
Good
on.
job.
You didn't do the finger wag thing, I think, but you did something else that worked. Like,
Yeah, I
like
tried to make it more of a warning. I figured that the finger wag thing wasn't working for me, so I turned it
Oh,
into
okay.
more of a down emphasized warning.
Oh, cool.
Don't
Okay.
get burned by ordinary tissue. You know,
Good. Yeah,
don't
that's
do
what you're
that.
going
That's
for.
the
That came
dumb thing to
across.
do.
Idiot.
Don't
I
be
guess
a
there is a little
maroon.
bit of that subtext. Anyway, all right, Devin, go ahead. Devin, you're up.
Mm. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
I don't know about everybody else. I loved what you did with the "Don't Get Burned by Ordinary Tissue."
Yes.
I really loved that. What did everybody think about her performance in general?
That's actually what stood out to
It
me
was
was the
good.
ordinary,
Yeah, I really like
ordinary
it.
tissue.
Could be a titch slower.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought the D in
Right,
ordinary
that's
sounded
fine.
awkward to me. But yeah, your voice is great for this and your style. It's just spot
Yeah.
on for this.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
A little slower.
a little slower at the beginning. It almost sounded a bit sinister. It almost sounded like the
I kind
yeah.
of like
I
that.
don't know how else to describe it other than sinister.
She
I
was
think
quivering in fear. What do you want?
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's
Too
one way to put
R-rated.
it here. I think what you need to do is be on Dakota's side. Like feel the fear with her. You know,
Okay.
almost let your voice quiver a little bit there. Because again, we're playing this up for the kids.
True.
Okay.
So give that a try. We'll see if that works. If it doesn't, I'm wrong. That's totally fine.
No, that's what I was trying to do, but I guess it came out wrong. All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
I got nothing. I liked it just the way it was.
I love the last part, and it almost sounds. Don't get burned. It sounds like you're reading a. Is it like a fable? I love the last line anyway.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it definitely sounded like you were reading to somebody with this story, and you were on the little Dakota's side, and you just did great.
I thought it was lovely, darling.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Fantastic.
Next.
Yeah.
Almost all forgot to unmute. That would be me, I think.
I forgot to
It's
unmute.
you, Richard.
Yes, Richard, you're up. Go for it.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Hey, Richard,
I
you know I
love
love
Okay.
you,
Richard.
and I
What do I
think
do
you're
now?
fantastic. I don't like your higher register.
Okay.
What?
What?
Really?
I don't know
I'm
if it's
really
just
sorry
me.
about that. I'm doing the best I can.
Try it in
I
your
thought
lower
I'll
it
get
was
register.
looser shorts next week, I promise.
I couldn't even really judge you on your read because it was that distracting.
Oh, not
Okay,
to me.
fine.
I love it. You know,
I didn't feel
I like that
that.
a lot, Richard. You know what I like about it too with you is you take those short breaths and they fit in here because
It's my thing.
that's what they do when they're reading Dr. Seuss, you know, to get that next line out quick.
Now I have a coach that always says, don't romance the words. That if they're descriptive, they emphasize themselves. You know,
Mhm.
but in this case, this kind of read, I think it's perfect to do that. To you know, romance the words. I really that was really good, Richard.
Well, it had storytelling narration thing, so you got to be a little bit different with
Yeah.
your approach.
Okay.
See what
So to
deeper
make
sounds like. I don't think it's going to sound better.
so
I
to
don't
make
know.
Dan happy, we're going to go into a lower
Yeah, do it again in a
Okay,
lower,
Walter Cronkite
a
doing
lower
this.
register.
so it is
What
this
does it even
Monday,
mean?
September 19. Anyway,
From your feet.
Register.
us old folks know who that is. Anyway,
Yep.
little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
So, how about that time? Was
I
that
love it.
better?
I love it. It's just Richard.
That was
That's
No matter if
fantastically
it's low or
physical.
high, it
I
sounds good.
definitely like that better than the first read, but
All right.
Well, as long as I made you happy today, Dan, that's all that counts.
I am a happy man. So
Richard told
ah,
a story.
So, did that work?
yeah, I'm lying in bed and I think I'm gonna fall asleep to your voice. Just keep on reading.
Read
Wow,
some more
that's-
to me, Grandpa. Read some more.
Tell me that story with the six-fingered man and the giant.
And
I'm
Puff
sorry,
Puff
Richard.
Lotion.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Okay.
Over and over and over.
Well,
and over
Richard,
again, and
yes.
how does it feel being voted the Mike Check's grandfather?
Well, I didn't hear it because it wasn't loud enough, so I. No, that works just fine for me. I've got grandchildren from 20 all the way down to 5.
Well,
Don't
you
let your-
now have an entire group of online grandchildren to call your own as well. So, congratulations. That
Thank you
is
all so kindly.
our
I appreciate it.
Christmas gift to you, Richard.
You're being nice to me this week because you beat me up to pieces last week. You guys
Yeah,
are
and
so
also,
nice.
we're just not going to have an opportunity to do for a while. So,
Right.
Yeah, I've got next weekend, and I think that's about it for about 4 weeks. So,
oh man. Well, good
man.
news is I have been able to tentatively push back our meeting with Dave Walsh. So I'll give you all more information about that at the end of the mic check.
Okay.
For now, let's go ahead and move on with reads, shall we? So up next is Nathan.
Oh, yes, it is me, isn't it? Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. I'm going to pick up from the beginning. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have a pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus, indeed.
Okay, let's open it up. What did everybody think?
Definitely improved with the second take.
It was missing something, and I can't come up with a good explanation as to what it was. It just seemed, and this is unusual for you, Nathan, is it was just a tad flat. I don't, that's the best I can come up with. It just needed a little more something to it. I think what Janet was talking about, maybe romancing the words just a tad more might help. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was just a
I'm gonna
little,
do a
it
pattern
wasn't
break.
bad.
I've been dealing with technical issues, so I'm like half technical head, so that may have flattened it out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is do a pattern break and get out of that technical head thing. And
Over the top Christmas elf.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have a pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus, indeed.
You see, it's a little bit difficult to have you do a pattern break, Nathan, because the whole point of it is to push you outside of your comfort zone, and that just seems to put you right into your comfort zone. So, like this is really difficult here. I think you need to try to emulate somebody in the group. I think you need to do your best John Knowles impression.
John Knowles impression.
I was thinking John Stafford.
But Nathan, Nathan, what you just did, I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I was like, I like that one.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. The whole point of a pattern break is to get you out of that comfort zone.
Yes.
Like you want to break that comfort. So
yeah,
I
all
think
he did was go into a different closet that had the same nice, comfy clothes in it.
Yeah,
He didn't-
exactly. So we need to bring it out and into somewhere where it's a little less comfortable. So your best John Knowles impression.
About that
Let's hear it.
Yeah. John Knowles impression.
Oh Lord.
Yep, John Knowles, our very own
Knowles.
John.
There's a good
No,
example right
radio
there.
and sports announcer. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have a pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus, indeed.
I think you called me announcery.
Well, here's the thing, though. Nathan, you redirected it.
Yeah.
You didn't do a John Knowles impression. You did a sports announcer impression. You just chose a different and maybe not even very similar character. John's deliveries are a little bit different than that.
Yeah, a little bit, but he does kind of remind me of a sports announcer in some ways.
Yeah, but we're not going for sports announcer. Remember, we're going for John Knowles.
Okay.
John Knowles has got a lot of soul in his voice, but let me tell you, he's also got a lot of really good emotional delivery too. He knows what's going on.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have a pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus, indeed.
And there we have the Puss Plus again. All right.
I just was gonna say.
At least it wasn't
I
the
love
drunk leprechaun.
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you all about this here. Little Dakota. Oh, she had a bad day.
I love the puff puff.
Oh,
It really goes in the nose.
her nose was quivering in fear.
It's really good.
Oh, I can't read the tiny words in front of me. I
Richard,
forgot my
can I-
glasses or something.
Okay.
No, no.
All right.
Nathan, no. Nathan.
Okay, guess it's my turn.
No,
No, I want Nathan to read it again. No,
Oh,
now.
sorry.
Yeah,
he's
no,
not getting away
we've
with
gone through. I
that.
think we've gone through enough pattern breaking exercises
Nathan
with
being
Nathan.
Nathan.
Yeah.
You don't
Now,
want me to read it
Nathan,
again?
Nathan, be you reading to your grandchildren.
Yeah, Nathan.
Oh, my
Word-
fault.
Yes.
Sorry, not paying attention.
Get descriptive with the words, Nathan. Come on.
I had a 3-year-old
Make
call
the
me
pillowy
Grandpa.
softness
Hey,
sound
Uncle.
pillowy and soft.
You can do this.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have a pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus, indeed.
Oh, that was a lot better.
All right. What did everybody think of that, Reed?
I thought
Highly
that was a lot
acceptable.
better.
Highly acceptable.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Extremely adequate. No.
So that was
I finally got loosened up a little bit.
It was
Was
definitely all right.
completely satisfactory.
Today has been try to cram Nathan into his technical headspace before the mic check day. It all started this morning at 9 a.m. when I had a recording that went completely sour because it had no audio.
But other than that, it was good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the video looked great, but you know,
Well, I
why
think
the
in
closed
general,
captioning, everybody else wants to hear something.
I think in general, it did. You did a really fantastic job trying to communicate that soft and warmth that generally goes along with these sort of Dr. Seuss style reads. You really did hit that this time a lot
Yes.
more than you did that first time.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
congratulations, you've done it.
Yes.
Now up next is
Paul.
Paul.
Okay.
Paul is next.
So
Yep.
whenever you're ready, Paul, give us a read.
Ahem. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus, indeed.
Okay. What did everybody think of that one?
I thought it was pretty good, but on the last line, instead of it being a suggestion, oh, please don't get burned by those, it was, don't get burned or I'm coming after you. It was a little harsh there, just saying, but I thought overall the rest of it was really good, but that was not
Don't
trying
get
to be
burned or I'm
helpful. That was
sending
threatening.
Oh, okay.
Panamon was good too.
Yeah, yeah. Don't get burned was a tad angry, but the rest of it was really quite good.
Yeah.
All
Um,
right.
So go ahead and give us another read,
Tad
but
slower.
soften up. Sorry, go ahead, John. What was that?
Just a tad slower. That one seemed a little
Okay.
quick.
A tad slower?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a
Okay.
touch slower.
Yeah.
And
Did
then
you notice,
make
Mike,
sure that
he said with lotion to comfort space and soothe when she blows. So,
Okay.
yeah, that was what I was talking about earlier. You know, that could slow us down, having that space in the second line of at least
Uh-huh.
one of them, maybe two of them. But it sounded really good.
Mhm.
So you're building up and you're going down.
Mm-hmm.
It
all
sounded
right,
great.
go for it.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burdened by don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus, indeed.
That's it. That was absolutely it. That was a fantastic delivery.
Very
What did everybody else think of
Bravissimo.
it?
Yes, that was great.
That was extra adequate. Thanks. That was
No, I still
nicely
think that
done.
extraordinary works there because it's extraordinary. It's not just
That was-
normal ordinary, it's more ordinary.
That was lacking problematic issues.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks.
All in all, that was absolutely fantastic. You did a really good job. I loved the acting that you did. I love the physicality, the physicality with that whole thing. It really did bring emphasis to certain points that were lacking in some other reads. So fantastic. Alrighty then. Up next is
Leonard.
Leonard. Leonard,
Okay.
go for it.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Okay. What did everybody think?
Just a tad too soft in the first. You had the right emphasis and all that was there. It was almost whispery soft. Don't go quite that far, but you had good emphasis and the musicality of it was there. It was just like what is the story? And then you kind of bumped it up a little bit at the end about where it needed to be. So, but I thought your read was really well done.
Fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. A lot of people, and me too, all of us, it seems like we're forgetting to say that. I mean, can you? Your nose is sore and red. It hurts, and I don't hear that. I'm not hearing, but maybe that's okay. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would think the fiery tissue left her
The
nose
commercial
sore.
just
Red.
popped up on my TV that I'm not watching.
Oh, what, honey? What?
That commercial just popped up
Oh,
on
it
this
did.
TV.
Anyway, whatever.
That time of year, almost.
That's all I had to say.
Okay, so again, but louder.
Yeah, not so much whispery. I wouldn't say louder,
Okay.
but just not so much whispery. Keep all the
Okay.
same emphasis you had. You just need to raise it up a little bit so that it's do away with so much of the whisper, if that makes
Yeah, a
sense.
little more
Okay.
full voice.
Yeah,
There
I
you
get
go.
what you're saying. Okay, let's give it a shot. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Bravissimo.
That
Now,
was
those are
good.
my opinion. What did everybody
Wonderful.
else think?
I love the
Wonderful.
use of your face. The way
Bravo.
you did that with all your expression, it really added to what you were doing with your voice. That was fantastic.
That was good.
Definitely
you.
a golf clap.
I've been reading to grandkids.
There
Well,
you
it's
go.
paid off.
There you go.
Ah, I see.
Well, Dan, are you ready to wow us? You feeling up to it?
I don't know if I'm gonna wow you, but I'm gonna read. I've had no I had nothing to drink since that crap. So
Well,
here
good
we go.
luck.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. I lost my screen. Puffs has pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Okay, what did everybody think?
I have my opinion.
Yeah, we know. We know.
Actually, I mean, in spite of his circumstances, he did well around what where he's sitting, and I mean, there's some things he's unable to do at this moment, and I'm aware of that. So it's like it still came across well.
Yeah, I think he was emphasizing the right things, and there was a story. Don't worry about making a couple mistakes, Dan. Just if you need to go back, just do it and go back again. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But you had the right emphasis on the correct syllables. So
You picked back up after the tongue twister bit and plowed right back through it, but stayed on point. You did not get off the way you were doing your narration, so that was fantastic.
I can't even say puffs, so that's my problem right now. I can't say it right now. Puffs.
The first part seemed a little airy to me. Kind of like Richard was a little too high. It seemed a little too airy or high to me.
Okay.
Just like a little bit.
So I guess you could bring that down just a bit more.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that. Well, why don't you go ahead and give us one more read, Dan?
All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problems. God darn phone. So Dad slayed the problem with puff. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs has Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
All right.
I literally cannot say puffs. Puffs.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We understand the situation. So, what did everybody think about that delivery?
I like the earlier one.
yeah, I'm with you, Miss B. Yep. I thought the earlier one had the better cadence. I can kind of tell you're getting a little bit tired there, pal. So
Yeah.
it's okay. And if you haven't had anything to drink, you're trying to talk like with cotton mouth, and that's the worst.
You're trying to perform around physical tiredness. It is next to impossible.
So you did really well. I'm with you, Miss B. That
I'm gonna try
the
sitting up
early
and
one
do
was
one.
good.
I'm gonna try sitting up and doing one.
Go for it.
You want to go
All
for
right.
it?
If you feel you
try,
can.
Try putting a little more drama and emotion for the 4-year-olds.
All right. All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problems with puff. So Dad slayed. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
All right. What did everybody think of that one?
Too much laughing.
Yeah, stop enjoying yourself, will ya? Jeez.
Dang it,
Actually,
man. Quit having fun.
His laughter at his own stumble actually gave that Dad slayed the problem a more upbeat feel to it. So that was
Mhm.
really, really well done. I mean,
I thought you did dandy. Dan.
And
See?
kudos for performing around pain. You know, I mean, seriously.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, you did fantastic. So go ahead, lay back down, take it easy. We'll hand it over to Russ. Russ,
Thanks.
whenever you're ready, take it
All
away.
right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Okay, let's open it up. What did everybody think?
Overall,
The
I
first
liked it.
part could have been.
Go ahead.
First part was just a little too gentle. Like it could have been just a little bit more with the disgust and so you have more of an emotional change when you get to the second two paragraphs.
Yeah,
I got the same thing. It sounded just like you were reading to your grandkids, which was fantastic, but you need to change it up emotionally here and there when it calls for it.
You were doing okay with so Dad slayed the problem with Puff Plus lotion instead. Okay, that's the sponsor. He slayed the problem with this white horse named Puff Plus lotion. Ta-da, ta-da, the white horse is riding in. So
okay,
that needed a little more oomph. But yeah, everybody else has said what we've all heard. So I'm gonna.
All right. Well, that's enough. That's all I can
Listen
handle.
here, little mister. We're gonna tell you when it's enough. You just sit tight, pal.
Well, if it's enough, then let's go ahead and hear another read from you.
All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
I think he hit all of what we were talking about. And I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, he hit every point.
Yep. Bravissimo.
Put the check in the mail.
Nice. And you had that right element of active hush. It sounded like you're reading a bedtime story. Fantastic.
Thanks, Nathan. John.
All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Before we get into John's read, how was Nathan's interpretation of John?
Bad.
I didn't like that.
Very
I
bad.
didn't like it.
That's not self-criticism. It's just, yeah, my thing is, most of the time, if I'm going to do an impression of someone, I have to hear them a lot. Now, I hear John every Monday, but not frequently enough to really to nail it down.
Dan rule.
Yet.
Yeah.
I can see how you would obsess on that.
But that's why I kind of stepped away from it a little bit and got into something else. But I was trying to go by what I knew, and
now let's have
no
John
violation of the Dan
do
rule on that.
Nathan.
So if you did
Well, you know what? That'll be
it would
good to
better.
try if we feel that John needs a pattern break. And speaking of that, what did you all think of John's performance?
I thought everything was
in-
excellent except for what he said. Puffs have pillowy softness. It sounded kind of announcery there.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
That's exactly what I had too. The pillowy softness need to be sounded more pillowy and soft.
And I felt like the last Puff Plus needed a little bit more bracketing, but maybe that's just me.
Aside from those few little things, he sounded darn close to the original commercial.
Yeah, yeah, and those
Yeah,
are.
just needed to talk with an accent. British accent.
Oh, was it with a British accent?
Yeah, it
A
is.
Well,
slight
now I
one.
have an idea. Just kidding. Well,
Okay, British accent,
Bye,
John.
guys.
Oh,
British.
take it easy, Russ.
bye, Russ.
Bye, Russ.
Bye,
No,
Russ.
I'm not leaving.
Oh, not Russ. Sorry,
Oh.
Dan. Right,
Oh.
said
I was like, I
Russ.
thought it was Dan, but okay.
He will,
Oh, yeah,
Dan.
it's
He will.
Here's you know how to
You've got a
practice
lot of
serious.
followers, Michael.
You Texans
That's
sound so
I'm
much
sorry.
Got a lot of lemons.
No, it's just your name was the last one that popped up, and my head was on your name, so I'm sorry.
I thought
No,
it was
no,
just
you're
funny
still.
how everybody just followed you over a cliff.
I know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Stop doing that. Yeah, it's Dan. Sorry. See you later, Dan. Russ is still here. He's still with us. All right. Sorry.
What am I doing? Doing it again?
Yep.
Okay.
Less announcery on the Puffs have pillow
Okay.
softness.
Other than that, it was
Yeah,
really
do
good.
it
Or
again
no
on the
announcery,
platter.
not less, none.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what I did, but okay. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puffs Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
That was good.
That was very good.
Yep.
So
What
did he
you
did he
look
hit
like.
that note? Did he still sound announcery on pillowy softness?
He didn't sound announcery, but it still didn't sound pillowy. It's like every other word. He's
Okay.
like right on
Okay,
target
fair
with this.
enough, yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
just that one, 2 lines together.
Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Perfect.
We'll just cut that in and send you the check.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
No,
Where
but
there
good
is
catch on that.
usage.
Good catch on that, Russ.
Bravo. Very well done.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, last but certainly not least, is Goldie. Goldie, whenever you're ready, let's hear it.
All right. Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red. So Dad slayed the problem with Puff Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus indeed.
Okay, what did everybody think of that performance? Got it. You
Wow.
stunned him,
There's
Goldie.
something, but I don't have a good explanation for it.
So
Everybody
I
went
think I know what it is.
You nailed the grandmother part.
And there was a place where I shifted out of the zone I was in.
So the thing is the way that you started it and the tone of voice that you carried when you started it made it sound like the whole thing was a little
Okay.
bit whiny. You were higher up in your register than you normally are when you
Okay.
read for us.
All right.
So that kind of gave it this almost like complainy feel to it.
Okay.
Other than all landed great. I just think if you brought it down a little bit, not so high up in your register,
Okay.
you'd really be on target.
Little Dakota's nose was quivering in fear because it knew an ordinary tissue was near. The fiery tissue left her nose sore and red, so Dad slayed the problem with Puff Plus lotion instead. Puffs have pillowy softness for Dakota's tender nose, with lotion to comfort and soothe when she blows. Don't get burned by ordinary tissue. A nose in need deserves Puffs Plus Indeed.
All right. What did everybody think of that one?
Good. She really connected those last two lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was much better than the first one.
Fantastic.
You had better pauses, and I felt so bad for the little one's sore nose. It's so tender and hurts.
Yeah. All in all, you really had that almost like really highly nurturing, somewhat grandmotherly feel to that read. It brought back a lot of
Good.
warm and fuzzy memories, at least for me. So
Yep.
I felt you did absolutely awesome. I'm open to whatever anybody else might have heard.
I'm saying bravo. And
Okay. Well, I guess if nobody has any other input, that's everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cool.
Well, this has been another fantastic mic check. And as you can see, I'm on my regular mic now and away from the lavalier. Technical issues aside, it's been a great one. And guys, if you have
Mm-hmm.
not been here and you're watching us on YouTube, come on and join us. And join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. And hey, if you can, if you're financially able to, support us down here, Patreon. Got the link down below there. And hey, we will see you guys next week for a mic check that Michael will have a piece of copy for and see what he surprises us with. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Join us every Monday for free script practice. You can also find the mic check on Facebook and Twitter. If you liked what you saw, then subscribe for more.